My name is Patrick Marks. I am 10 years old and I am in 4th grade.
My name is Max Stepker. I am 10 years old and I'm in 4th grade.
I am Coben Ponzi. I am 10 years old and I am in 4th grade.
And I'm Alessandra Carvalho. I am 10 years old and I am in 4th grade. And today we will be performing Breaking Western Barriers, the Lewis and Clark Expedition. It's 1803, and President Thomas Jefferson commissions an exploration of the recent purchase of the Louisiana Territory and beyond all the way to the Pacific. He has his Secretary of State, Meriwether Lewis, to lead the efforts. Lewis contacts his friend, William Clark, and asks him to join the journey. They would be co-captains for the Corps of Discovery.
We need men who are good outdoorsmen, have building skills, and are capable hunters. They need to be unmarried, sturdy, and able to endure hardships. It will be a long journey, but the reward will be a piece of land and a farm.
They need to become soldiers, as it will be very important to follow the rules. We must be prepared to work as a team. We will meet Indians along the way.
In preparation for your expedition, you will need to build boats, pirogues, and gather a long list of supplies for food like sugar, flour, honey, and cornmeal.
We will need fishing gear, rifles, and gunpowder, fire tools, tents, blankets, and more. Also, items used as gifts for trade with the Indians.
We will need instruments for map making and journaling.
We will have this winter to gather all the supplies you will need. It will provide ample time for all the Corps of Discovery members to really get to know each other. Over the winter, they form the Corps of Discovery, gather supplies, and study navigation, plants, and animals. On May 14, 1804, they leave St. Louis on their journey up the Missouri under Lewis and Clark's leadership. It is strenuous travel against the current. It soon becomes winter, and they decide to build camp in Fort Mandan until spring. They meet Sacagawea. C is a Shoshone tribe member who is married to a French fur trader.
That is the land of my people. I can go with you as your guide and translator. I also know much about gathering food. I can be quite helpful.
It will be helpful for you to come with us. Traveling with a woman and child will show we come in peace.
In April, they set out from Fort Mandan. 2 months later, they arrive at a major fork in Missouri River. No Indian had mentioned this to them.
To choose the wrong route would not only lose us the whole of the present travel season, but pride decided the party that it might defeat the expedition altogether. Captain, the fork flowing to the northwest looks like the Missouri. It is deeper, muddy, and turbulent.
The fork from the southwest is wider, but the fork from the northwest. But all of the men believe that the fork from the northwest is the correct choice.
They dispatch scouting parties of each fork. When both parties return, Lewis and Clark are unconvinced, so they decide to see for themselves. Lewis up the northwest fork and Clark up the southwest fork. Upon their return, they will discuss their observations.
I went 45 miles up this river and found that it runs swift and true to the west of south and has a strong, rapid current. I do believe it to be the Missouri.
I am well convinced that this branch of the Missouri runs too far to the north for our route to the Pacific. Therefore, I'm in agreement with you, Captain. We shall take the fork to the southwest.
"10 days later, the Corps arrives at the beautiful and impossible to navigate Five Falls. The Corps must portage through the roughest country along the Missouri.
The most direct route, good or bad, is 18 miles. We must make this portage. It will take at least a month. We will need to haul the canoes and supplies across the rugged terrain.
We have been pummeled by storms of wind, rain, and hail, tortured by prickly pear cactus, plagued by rattlesnakes and mosquitoes, and menaced by white bears. This has been the most perilous and difficult barrier so far.
Finally, they navigate the Five Falls. The captains are very worried they will run out of time to find the Sassoni and cross the Rockies before winter. They travel for a month before meeting the Sassoni tribe.
I recognize this land. This is the land of my people. Let us go find the chief to tell us about the land and trade for some horses. Chief Camaway, please meet Captain Lewis. He is leading the expedition to the Pacific.
Chief, please tell me about the land. How can we cross the mountains?
The mountains are vast and always snow-covered. The river is rocky and very swift current. There is no storm in which to pass. The mountains are inaccessible to man or horse.
Is there a northern route?
The purse-nosed Indians came from the north. The road is very bad. There is no game and only berries to eat. The mountains are very rocky and thickly covered in fallen timber.
I feel perfectly satisfied that if the Indians could cross these mountains with the women and children, that we could also pass them.
Their journey is as hard as Chief Camaway described the land. They have many close calls with men and horses falling down the mountain. The weather is very cold and wet, and they run out of food. A few weeks later, the Corps find the Nez Perce Indians.
Crossing the mountains have been the most difficult by far.
Yes, I agree. It wasn't just the terrain, but the weather. The blowing snow caused our Shoshone guide to lose his way.
That would be difficult, and during this season there must not have been a lot to eat.
Yes, we had to kill some horses for food. We were nearly starving and so cold and wet.
Excuse me, captains. The Nez Perce chief, Twisted Hair, has agreed to take care of some of the horses until we return, as well as help guide us down the Columbia River. But some of the tribe has said that the rapids are so dangerous, they doubt that we will make it.
Along the river there are more Nez Perce Indian tribes. They will help you find plenty of food. You will be able to camp and trade with them for supplies you need.
The rapids are indeed dangerous. Many members of the tribe gather to watch the Corps start their journey. They expect the white men to drown, but instead they successfully make it to the Pacific.
I can smell it. I can hear it.
Ocean in view. Oh, the joy.
On November 15th, 1805, Lewis and Clark reached their final destination. They met all of President Jefferson's objectives and laid the groundwork for America's future expansion to the Pacific.
They encountered many types of barriers along the way, such as physical, emotional, and environmental.
We chose to research the physical barriers because we were most impressed with their ability to break through and never give up.
The Corps of Discovery had to combat rivers, battle the Great Falls, conquer the Rocky Mountains, and continue the struggle down the Columbia River, spending most of the expedition wet, hungry, and cold.
We have learned with determination and fortitude that humans can break barriers that initially seem impossible. Thank you.
All of you did very well. Your eye contact, you're looking around the room, you know what you're talking about. It really impressed me.
I second that. You guys did a great job. So Coben, are you the one that went down to St. Louis?
Yes.
And what sparked your decision, your interest in doing Lewis and Clark? Did you get to see some of their museums down there? Or?
Yeah, I also saw the gateway to the west, and I wanted to learn more about Lewis and Clark after seeing that.
Did you go up there to the art?
Yes.
I thought Lewis and Clark did better. No?
So I see you have a lot of secondary sources, you have some primary sources. Was it tough finding more primary sources or?
Yes, it was a little bit.
But you actually got to see the real journals and see
Yeah.
how they, I think that's pretty cool.
It was
When you
really cool and very interesting.
Yeah, when you see their handwriting and see what they actually wrote. Was it difficult to read some of it?
Yes,
it was
because
very
they
different.
they misspelled some words
Mhm.
because they also called grizzly bears white bears.
And they called mosquitoes like,
Mosquitoes.
well, they called them mosquitoes, I thought they were mosquitoes or something. Yeah, they were something weird, I don't remember. But
Yeah, I think back then they kind of wrote how they spoke and it wasn't correct grammar.
They wrote everything cursive, didn't
Yeah.
Yes.
they? You can't hardly read documents. So,
You guys able to read cursive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job on your annotated bibliography too. I like how you really explained each of your source and didn't just put, it was interesting, it was good. You really kind of described what it gave you, what you learned from it. So that was a good job on your annotated bib.
Did you think about coming from behind your display and coming out? Who thought of that? Which one of you thought of that?
That was kind of all of us.
yeah, we thought that it'd
Pretty
be
much all of us.
easier instead of like going to the side or something.
That's kind of neat. I didn't know what to expect.
Yes.
Some of you guys or girls wish you were an explorer, but you kind of wish you were able to explore America back in the day. It's dangerous, but exciting.
Something cool that they thought they would see was woolly mammoths. They thought they would see woolly mammoths.
Why did they think that?
Because they didn't know what was out there until they actually went.
So who learned to speak the Indian language? They had the interpreter.
Yeah, they had Sacagawea as their interpreter.
I know, but did any of them learn the language?
No,
No.
not really.
So it's a good thing they had her with them.
Another interesting fact is that only one person died on their trip.
How did you do it?
From burst appendix.
You have a lot of knowledge. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much.